Turo host for going on 8 years, and despite having a successful Turo fleet, I don't do Turo full-time. In fact, across YouTube and content creation, Turo, and real estate, none of these are my full-time gig, and I actually have a real W-2 job. I've referred to this many times on my channel as my corporate job, even though it really isn't corporate at all. And I get asked quite frequently why I still have a W-2 job despite finding financial success elsewhere, and recently I was watching a video from the YouTube channel The Plain Bagel where he discussed just this, so I thought I'd make my own version of this video, and ultimately discuss for the first time on this channel why I don't do Turo, YouTube, or any of the side gigs I discuss on this channel full-time for myself. Now, full disclosure, my husband is a full-time Turo host, but I have never been the one to take this leap personally, even today. And truthfully, I can't see myself quitting my job anytime in the near or even distant future. So here's why. First, and probably most importantly, is I actually like my job. I've actually referenced having a corporate job on this channel a lot, but one thing that I haven't talked about is the fact that I actually recently changed my corporate job, which was very unexpected. Prior to my new job, I had previously worked in consulting where I had the same job for over 6.5 years. And I always told myself that I would keep that job as long as it made sense because I was fortunate to have a job that paid well, allowed insanely good flexibility, and a job that was totally aware and embraced the fact that I had a YouTube channel, Turo, and other projects that I was working on. I did enjoy this job. The only boss that I had was my CEO. I was a real decision maker within the company, and this paired with the fact that I was making good money, it was part-time, and I had the flexibility to do all the other things that I wanted to do. I viewed this as sort of a once-in-a-lifetime gig that I was going to hold on to for as long as it made sense. But over the summer, I was offered a new job that held all of these same benefits but higher pay and an opportunity to work with a new team that I could really learn from. And this was a job that I just really couldn't say no to, so I didn't, and I ended up switching. And so today, I still have a corporate job, but in a different field, or I should say different but adjacent field, despite the fact that previously I didn't think that I would ever be able to find a job that was comparable to my old one. A sort of secondary point to this is that not only is my W-2 job one I like, but I also think it's very important for my internal growth. I am extremely introverted, which may come off as a surprise given the fact that putting myself out there on the internet is something that I've been doing nearly every day for over 4 years. And I'm gonna be honest, I have found that having a W-2 has been really good for my personal growth and overall personal and professional confidence. In my early 20s, I really struggled with social anxiety, and while this is still something that I struggle with, it was much more debilitating when I was younger. In my previous role at my old company, part of my job was client meetings and client calls, which I hated doing, but it really forced me to gain confidence and learn how to interact with people, get used to talking to people on the phone, addressing and solving conflict. All of these things are things that I would really struggle with today had my previous job not forced me to get over these fears. And well, today my mindset is that surrounding myself around people that are smarter than me in fields that I may not know well, that is extremely important because I want to continue growing both professionally and personally. Because I am extremely introverted, if I didn't have a W-2 that forced me to interact with people outside of my family, my spouse, and Turo customer support every day, I would truly never speak to anyone outside of my immediate bubble, which obviously is totally counterproductive to personal and professional growth. And for the sake of building a network, making connections, and learning, having a W-2 and interacting with people that I wouldn't otherwise interact with is incredibly important. And this is something that I wouldn't really have access to, or I wouldn't force myself to do if I didn't have a W-2. Since switching my job, I've already learned so many cool and new ideas that I've been able to implement into my own projects, and these are things that I would have never been exposed to had it just be me working in my own company. The way I view it is I'm learning from really smart people and I'm getting paid to do it, which is a win-win. The second reason, and this is probably the most obvious one if you're a regular viewer of this channel, but that is diversification. I like having my income diversified. It provides me with a level of safety net, but also provides a lot of stability in my life because I know that if Turo delists half of our fleet tomorrow, or if there's a slow month for YouTube, I'm gonna be just fine. I tend to get in my own head about virtually everything. If we have a bad month on Turo or I have a series of videos that underperform, I tend to go into my own head and think, okay, this is the beginning of the end, which it never is, but I definitely do have that internal monologue probably 10 to 12 times a year. By knowing that if my husband and I go and start a new business or a new side hustle, or if we go into a new investment, and knowing that even if these don't work out, we'll be perfectly fine, this is extremely important for me to have mentally, especially given the fact that I am no stranger to failed businesses, and in my early 20s, I almost filed for bankruptcy because of a business that I had that closed. And I think it's safe to say I don't want to have to go through that again. Whether sensible or not, not, having a W-2 has allowed for me to take risks without having those risks be really risky, if that makes sense. Which is incredibly important to not only me, but also my husband HP. Because my favorite part about business is the pursuit of either starting or scaling something new. I really enjoy the process of finding and buying new cars for Turo, looking to see how we can expand our fleet elsewhere, starting new business ventures, or experimenting with new projects. This is absolutely my favorite part of being an entrepreneur, and it truly is basically all I think about. And to be able to pursue any idea within reason, to me, this is reason enough to keep a W-2 job, because it gives me energy, it makes me happy, it's important to me, and by having a job, it allows me and HP the confidence to pursue any idea I want without a ton of risk to our personal lives. Another reason, and this is one I think about quite frequently, is what would I be doing with my time if I didn't have a W-2? Now, don't get me wrong, I would very easily be able to fill that time, but would those tasks that would fill my time, would they be worth my time? HP and I are currently looking at hiring our first full-time employee. They'd sort of be a hybrid between what HP works on and what I work on. For example, spending half of the day helping HP manage the Turo fleet and maybe spending the other half helping me with miscellaneous projects, researching for a video, things like that. And I've had the internal monologue quite frequently about whether or not it would be worth it for me to just simply quit my W-2, fill in the gaps of where we need help with today, and we just simply forego hiring an employee altogether. And the reason why we aren't doing this is everything we've already discussed in this video, but it's also the fact that many of the tasks that an employee would do are tasks that I don't really want to be doing anyways, or they're tasks that would be a waste of time for me to do. There's a phrase that people use a lot in business, which is work on the business, not in the business, and unfortunately, many of the tasks that HP and I need help with are tasks that are in the business, not on the business. And I've basically convinced myself that my time is better spent working for someone else, learning, even if that means technically diluting my pay, because the only reason why we have to hire help is because I have a W-2. I don't want to get stuck into the hamster wheel of just checking in and cleaning cars day in and day out and just maintaining the status quo. I want to make sure that both HP and myself are constantly evolving and growing the business or developing new ones. And I have found that having a W-2 and being exposed to people who are smarter than myself are some of the best ways to really foster and inspire that growth. And of course, I would be lying if I said that money wasn't also a factor, because of course it is. I am not extremely money motivated in the sense that I just don't really care about materialistic things or money in general. But there are two things that really motivate me, and unfortunately, both of these two things are money driven. First is retirement. I am obsessed with saving for retirement. I think about this probably every day, and I kick myself all the time that I didn't start saving and investing for retirement earlier in my 20s. And it definitely isn't like a man, I can't wait to retire type of mindset. It's more so, hey, how much money can I have saved and invested by the time I retire in 35 years? And seeing my investment accounts and my retirement accounts grow each and every month has definitely been a driving factor in why I keep my W-2 and why I'm having such a hard time with the idea of even potentially letting it go. And so by having a W-2, this has allowed for HP and I to invest so much more money into our retirement accounts, which is great. And the second thing that drives me personally is I am extremely goal-oriented. I love achieving a goal, and oftentimes my goals are aligned with either revenue figures or investment benchmarks, cars in our fleet, things like that. And so in many ways, for better or for worse, money is sort of a scorecard with achieving these goals. And my W-2 absolutely has an impact on this as well. And I have a hard time justifying leaving my job and then seeing how that would potentially negatively impact our goals from being achieved or from our retirement from being contributed to. And so that's why I have a job, and why YouTube, Turo, or any other business or side gig that I've talked about on the channel isn't my full-time gig. I think W-2s in general get a bad rap in the world of entrepreneurship, but I think there are a lot of pluses to having a W-2 if you can find one that matches what you're looking for. Now, I do want to point out that I totally recognize that my current work schedule is definitely unsustainable for the long term. And the fact that I am so incredibly introverted is one of the reasons why this has been able to work for me. And I also recognize that there will probably come a point where I will be forced to scale back. But that day is not today, or any time in the near future. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.